These detectives getting inside of the dumpster and empty the entire contents, and they find Zamil's glasses, his student ID, his wallet, and his clothes, which are extremely bloodied at the time. Again, this is where we get our first break. This is where, during this timeline, this missing persons becomes a missing person endangered case. Now we ramp up our efforts, because now we know, and you guys heard the same theory that we have that's been dispelled and unproven, that the two of them were in arranged marriage, that the two of them were in love, the two of them ran away together. We were able to dispel that immediately at this point, knowing that we're going a different direction.
There are two things about this case no one else is giving you the full picture on. The first is a CVS receipt time-stamped at 10:47 at night. The second is a technology platform that recognized a dangerous search, flagged it as a risk, and kept responding anyway. Two families in Bangladesh sent their children to America. They sent them with hope. They sent them with pride. They sent them believing every sacrifice they had made would be worth it in the end. Zamil Leman was 27 years old. He was a doctoral student in environmental science at the University of South Florida in Tampa. He was his family's greatest hope, the one they pointed to, the one they believed would come home, having made it. Nahida Eristy was also 27. She was his partner. She was finishing her PhD in chemical engineering at the same university. Together, they had a plan: graduate, return home to Bangladesh that summer, and build the future they had both earned. That summer never came. On April 16, 2026, Zamil and Nahida disappeared from Tampa, hours apart. No warning, no goodbye, no sign of what had already happened inside their home. Subscribe to AutoVex Crime right now, because this case is still unfolding, and you need to be here when the next update drops. By the time their families started making calls, one person already knew where they were. He had already gone back, not to help, not to look for them, but to check on what he had done. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you will understand why investigators said they had never seen anything quite like this before. This is the story of Zamil Leman and Nahida Eristy, two PhD students, one betrayal, and a home that became the last place they ever were. Their families waited 8 days for answers, but someone who shared Zamil's apartment knew exactly where they were the entire time. And the evidence trail he left behind told a story he never expected anyone to find. The night Zamil and Nahida disappeared, Hisham Abukari walked into a CVS. It was 10:47 at night. His receipt showed Lysol wipes, ice, and cleaning supplies, bought together in the dark on the exact evening they were last seen alive. These were not panic purchases. This was preparation. That same night, another roommate saw something. Abukari loaded large boxes onto a shared trolley. He moved them quietly to his car. He left without a word. Nobody asked questions. Nobody thought to. But investigators did. When they pulled the location data from his vehicle, the numbers were damning. Between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. on April 17th, his car was on the Howard Franklin Bridge. The roads were dark, traffic was nearly zero. Police Chief Chad Chronister stated exactly what the data showed. He calculated the timing, he chose the location. 8 days after the disappearance, on April 24th, a body was found near that same bridge. It was bound with duct tape. It had been placed inside a trash bag and left there, discarded like it was nothing. That was Zamil Leman, the man his family had sent to America with every hope they had. That same day, Hisham Abukari was arrested and faced 2 serious felony charges. But one question had no answer. Nahida was still missing. Her family in Bangladesh received calls from authorities carrying one quiet instruction: prepare yourselves. Then a Sunday morning changed everything. A man kayaking through the mangrove area near Tampa Bay snagged his fishing line on something submerged. He moved closer. The smell stopped him completely. He called law enforcement immediately. Days later, through DNA analysis, dental records, and the clothing Nahida was last captured wearing on camera, it was confirmed. Chief Chronister announced it officially. Nahida Eristy has been found. Her family was notified before the information was made public. But while the world absorbed that news, investigators were already looking at something on Abu Kari's phone that would rewrite the entire conversation around this case. Investigators had his car, his purchases, and his location. But when they opened his phone, they found something no one in law enforcement had encountered as evidence quite like this before. Before April 16th, before anyone was reported missing, before any investigation had started, Hisham Abu Kari opened ChatGPT and typed his first question. He asked what would happen if a body were placed in a garbage bag and thrown away. Sit with that. At that moment, no investigation existed. No one had filed a report. No one had called the police. Only one person in the world knew what that question was really about. The system flagged the search as potentially dangerous, and it kept responding. What investigators found when they went deeper into that phone was a pattern, deliberate, calculated, and methodical. Here is what he searched across multiple sessions, in sequence. Whether a knife could penetrate a skull, how far sound travels through apartment walls, whether neighbors could hear what happens inside a unit, the likelihood of surviving a serious injury. And then, on April 23rd, a full week after the disappearance, he typed, "Is the missing adult in danger?" He used the same tool he had used to plan, to circle back and check on what he had done. When this evidence reached Florida authorities, the response was swift. The state launched a separate criminal investigation, not just into Abu Kari, but into OpenAI itself. The question at the center had never been asked in a courtroom before. If a platform recognizes a dangerous search, warns the user, and still responds, does the technology carry responsibility? There is no legal precedent yet. There is no clear answer. But that question is now part of an active criminal investigation, and it is not going away. We are watching a case that could change how technology platforms are held accountable permanently. Here is what I want you to tell me. ChatGPT flagged his searches as dangerous and kept answering anyway. Does that make the platform responsible for what happened? Drop your answer in the comments right now, because this community gets to the truth faster than most investigators do. The phone explained how, the receipts explained when, the car explained where. But the one question Zamil and Nahida's families are still waiting on, the one no investigator has answered on record, is why. Hisham Abu Kari was not a stranger. He was Zamil's roommate. He knew Nahida. He shared their hallway, their kitchen, and possibly their daily meals. This was not random violence from outside. This was a betrayal from inside the home, from someone they lived beside. His purchases tell you everything about intent, specialized garbage bags and cleaning supplies, ordered together, not in a panic, but ahead of time. Forensic analysis of the apartment confirmed what those purchases suggested. Every detail pointed to premeditation. Nothing about this was impulsive. But here is what makes the motive question so painful. Court records show legal disputes within Abu Kari's own family. His brother sought a court protection order against him and received one. Concerns about his psychological state appear in records dating back to 2023. Investigators carry one theory they will not confirm publicly. The visible happiness between Zamil and Nahida, a growing bond, a future coming into focus, may have built something quietly inside Abu Kari, something that finally broke on April 16th. That is a hypothesis, not a confirmed motive. The real answer lives only with him. He is currently held at Hillsborough County Jail, no bail, 2 felony charges. Investigators believe he acted alone, and the public faces no ongoing threat. If Zamil and Nahida deserve justice, and they do, like this video and share it right now. Their families have asked the world not to forget them. This is exactly how you make sure the world doesn't. We still do not have a confirmed motive. Investigators have a theory, but they will not say it on the record. What do you think happened in that apartment? Leave your answer in the comments, because this case deserves a real conversation. While investigators built their case in Tampa, 2 families in Bangladesh were preparing for the saddest moment of their lives, a return that no one had ever planned for. Zamil Leman's body arrived at Shah Jalal International Airport in Dhaka on an Emirates flight. It was 8:47 in the morning. Deputy Foreign Minister Shama Obaid was there. So was his family, the same people who once stood at a departure gate and waved him off with everything they had. It was raining. His body was taken by ambulance to Jamalpur, his hometown. Funeral prayers were held. He was buried by the people who had once sent him away, believing he would return with a degree and a future. He came back, just not the way any of them had imagined. The Bangladeshi student community raised over $160,000 for both families. That number is not just generosity, it is defiance, a refusal to let this become a story the world files away and forgets. Both families carry one demand: justice, transparency, and full accountability under the law. The Bangladeshi government has confirmed it is in direct contact with U.S. agencies managing the case. Zamil and Nahida came to America with everything ahead of them. They deserved to come home the same way. This case is not closed. The demand for justice is not finished, and we are not moving on. Share this video for Zamil and Nahida. Their families ask the world not to forget them. Every share puts this case in front of someone new, and that matters more than you know. Subscribe to AutoVex Crime and hit that notification bell, so you are here the moment the next update drops on this case. Like this video. Share it, because the only thing worse than what happened to them is the world going quiet before there is justice.